again, as you know, me being a National Football League guy, things like favorites and underdogs, those terms confuse me. But it does appear that the folks in that town behind you think Oregon is going to win this football game by a wide margin. What's the scoop with that?
Very few precedents for an undefeated team playing for a conference championship and a playoff bid being this big an underdog. The only parallel has been Notre Dame played Clemson, and Clemson didn't have Lawrence in the first game, and they lost at Notre Dame. The rematch, Trevor came back. They're a big favorite. Notre Dame lost and still made the playoff. But this is so unusual to have a Washington team that has run the gauntlet in the Pac-12, one of the deepest years ever in this league, and is a 9.5-point dog. It shows you how much they respect the dominance of Oregon down the stretch, because they've been handling business, and the Huskies have been kind of scraping by, being clutch in the moment, but not dominant. That's why the number's so big.
It's okay, so that's why that's the way that's working. But it does appear that Oregon has played some of the best football in college over the last month and a half, 2 months. To what do you ascribe that, Chris?
A couple of things. One, they've done an amazing job getting this team physically ready. We had our meetings yesterday. And you know how everything is analyzed and all the data points are put together for how fast a guy runs in practice, how high he jumps, what he's doing in the weight room. It's normal to have teams wear down in the regular season. 13 games in, it's very, very difficult to have guys running faster now than they have, lifting more now than they were. And that's where Oregon is. Somehow they've stayed really fresh, energized. I sense they do have a little more juice, a little more fuel in the tank than Washington does. Both of them have played 8 straight weeks since that first meeting in Seattle, which was one of my favorite games of the season. And since then, it's been a grind. No virtual buys, no off weeks to play an FCS team. It's been Pac-12 competition, high-stress games every week, and somehow Oregon has come out of this thing looking really bouncy and ready to go. And they've got Bo Nix, and they've got a very balanced team. I think they feel like, talking about Sundays, they were better at the line of scrimmage than Washington. That's what they think. They thought they were in the first game and lost despite that. They think that it'll be the difference in round 2.
Well, I assume you're going to see Bo Nix in Manhattan next weekend, right? And so how do you does tonight have a large role in whether he picks up the trophy that night, do you think?
Yeah, the Jaden Daniels of LSU doesn't have the opportunity to make a closing statement. They got 3 losses, but that doesn't mean he can't win it.
Right.
Lamar Jackson, RG3, Tebow, Caleb, guys have won this trophy with multiple losses. And as great as his year was, Daniel's going to be in New York. I think the winner of this game tonight becomes the main challenger for him. If Nix goes out and lights it up in his 60th start as a college football player.
Wow.
Then I think he will be the favorite. They keep odds in it. The odds have been screwy with this trophy all year. They wildly fluctuate. It doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. I don't know who bets on the Heisman. But people do evidently. And they've got Nix as the favorite, but not a huge favorite. And he wouldn't be the favorite if they lost the game. So it depends on what happens on the field.
Apparently, I have a degenerate in the studio who just reacted to that. So do you bet on the Heisman, Chris?
Yeah, everyone bets on the Heisman.
Ask him when he bets.
Go for it. He can hear you. Go ahead, Chris.
Chris, you just got to bet throughout the year. You're basically looking for odds. You're looking for the best value.
I know how it works.
I know, but you're looking for value throughout the year. So after Oregon loses to Washington, you're like, they're still good. I'm still going to bet Bo Nix because he's 10-1, and now he's the favorite.
Did you get him at 10-1?
I don't want to really reveal, but sure.
What do you mean? What is that?
Sure.
I have good value on Bo Nix. I have good value on Bo Nix. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Very good.
If you're going to play value, but there's like J.J. McCarthy, no offense, Rich, was like the favorite for a moment there.
Right.
And then that it radically changed. And,
right.
and I think that, we don't know who. I think Penix and Nix are both deserving of being in New York, along with, of course, Daniels. And then who's the fourth guy? We don't know. There'll be a fourth finalist. And that's sort of like TBD. Is Carson Beck going to light it up for Georgia? Or is Milroe for Alabama? Or if JJ has a huge game and they they stomp Iowa, as they expect they will? Does he get there? That's a little bit of intrigue in who the other finalists will be.
And then, as if there's not enough stakes on the line tonight that you referred to, the winner of this moves on, right? The winner of this goes to the college football.
Well, yeah,
playoff?
I mean, I think so. I think the committee has weighed in on Oregon, right? They know how much, even though they don't have that mega quality win yet, if they beat Washington, they will. And the committee already loves what they do. So I think they would take Washington's place in the top 4. The seeding is really interesting. Like Florida State is trying to get through with a backup quarterback, and even Tate Rodemaker, that backup quarterback, got it hit in the head last week. I guess he's been practicing. I'm not sure about their game for Louisville. A lot of people would like to see FSU lose. I'm going to be honest, with the other contending and just go away. But if they survive and advance, then they're in the conversation too. But how this seeding works is going to be really interesting. The Georgia-Bama game is crucial. Bama, again, has the chance to just wreck everything by beating Georgia and sort of trying to force their way in there. And as an SEC champ, it'd be hard to say no. And then what do you do with Georgia? So it gets very complicated if the Dogs don't win as 5.5-point favorites in Atlanta tomorrow.
Well, what do you do with Texas then, too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Texas beat Alabama. I mean, it's very simple to understand when you talk tie breaks. One team has beaten the other. The one for Alabama is to Texas.
But this Texas, I think Texas is a great team, and they're an example of a team that's been pretty dominant down the stretch. Their one loss to Oklahoma on a late touchdown. Otherwise, they're perfect, and they're sitting right there 1-2 somewhere. And I don't think you become a radically better or worse team on the basis of one play. I just don't. I don't think Alabama is a much better team because Milroe throws a 4th and 31 prayer touchdown to survive against Auburn. Okay. They're a more deserving team. They're not a better team because they made one play. And Texas isn't a much worse team because Dylan Gabriel threw a touchdown to beat them in Dallas mid-season. So we need the 12-team playoff this year. We don't have it.
Right.
It's going to be a little bit messy. People are going to be mad and feel excluded. That's going to be part of the process on Sunday when the bids go out.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.